All right, so a bunch of you guys have been asking about the Tacoma build on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere. And so I thought I'd do a quick walk around video.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't want to be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story.
So the truck's a 2008 Toyota Tacoma that I bought wrecked. The front was kind of smashed up, the back was kind of smashed up. The frame horns were a little twisted. So I started my build by getting the frame pulled kind of where I needed it, and then I welded together and fabricated a front bumper to kind of hold the frame rails in place. We've upgraded, this is eBay stuff, headlights, eBay grill. I took a 5th generation 4Runner stock emblem and cut off of that grill from the 4Runner that we used to have and zip tied it to this grill. It has like laser fit LED headlights. It's got like a Harbor Freight Badlands winch in there. The KC dual pattern off-road lights, which are absolutely insanely bright. But the big thing is the solid axle swap, right? Everybody's like, oh my gosh. So the front axle's from a 2004 Super Duty Ford. It is was kind of somewhat pre-built. I bought it with a Barnes 4-wheel drive off-road truss on it, which was meant to make it a direct bolt-in for a Jeep JK. I then took Rubicon Express long arm lift arms, and we installed on that axle and kind of held them in place on the truck frame, set up our measurements there, and welded tabs that I picked up from Off-Road Anonymous to the frame to place the axle where it needed to be. The track bar is Rock Crawler Suspensions track bar for a JK, which I cut and extended to make work for what I needed it for my application. All right, so the coil springs are a TerraFlex leveling spring for a front of a Jeep JK. The shocks are Fox Rubicon Gladiator rears that I got off of a job that I did. The guy didn't want his stock components back. So the I have Barnes 4-wheel drive steering on it. I used that. The axle has Yukon axle and gear chromoly, outer shafts, air locker, and chromoly lockouts on it in the front. I use side-tracked off-road axle flanges front and rear, so I'm actually using the stock drive shafts front and back. They were still a direct bolt-in by utilizing those side-tracked off-road flanges. Yeah, it's got the Yukon diff cover on the front. What else is going on up here? I don't know, all kinds of cool stuff. So you can see the Yukon chromoly lockouts as well. We've got the Method, they were MR105 beadlock, supposedly the last gold ones that they had anywhere in the world. Pro Comp 40-inch mud terrain tires. We got the Trail Gear / All Pro Off-Road rock sliders. These were meant for a first generation Toyota 4Runner, and I modified them to fit the Tacoma the way that I needed, plated the frame. So the whole truck frame has been plated with 3/16 metal to box it totally. And then from the firewall forward, I plated it on the outside and the bottom so that I could reinforce it to do what I needed there. We also got the Trail Gear Hydro Assist steering cylinder up front and old school Toyota IFS steering gearbox. In the back, we used Off-Road Anonymous again, leaf spring hanger kit with Chevy 63-inch long leaf springs from a 2500 HD truck. We've gotten rid of the overload leaf, so they're a 4-leaf pack but with no overload. And then we have a Off-Road Anonymous shackle in the back. Again, this axle did have the Barnes four-wheel drive truss on it for the JK. We've cut a good portion of that off and used the Off-Road Anonymous U-bolt eliminator kit to bolt the leaf springs to the axles without having anything extra hanging underneath. The rear currently has some Bilstein 5160 remote reservoir shocks on it. And again, it's got Yukon 513 gears in it. Currently the rear is an open differential, and it's got a Moto built 13 bolt shaved diff cover. And we've shaved the bottom of the axle housing off a little bit there. All right, so the back bumper is something, again, that I built all by hand myself. So 3/16 metal that I kind of cardboard templated, cut and fabbed and fit into place. LED lights for the license plate, and then integrated a 2-inch receiver hitch into it. I'm not sure if this is totally done yet. I may actually lob off the bottom of the box sides and do kind of the high clearance chop here. I don't know. I haven't committed either way. In the back of the truck, we got some cool stuff going on. If you haven't seen the video before, so I made a trunk with a stainless steel sink, and this is where I keep, that's the air compressor for the air locker, some tow straps, some propane for grilling, that kind of stuff. I've tied in a deep cycle battery. So I have auxiliary power here. That runs some of the lighting and stuff, but also for camping. And then in this pocket over here, we have added a little switch panel. So I've got like a charge point for my like USB stuff, as well as 12-volt cigarette lighter. And then we've also added some bed lighting, which is really nice for camping at night. We got a couple of Milwaukee pack out mounts, so you can lock some stuff down when you're traveling. That's always a good idea. And then I've made, you've seen tent racks. I've got tent racks and stuff I built for putting the tent on it when I'm doing that. But yeah.
So how you get down?
That's a long way down. I have to climb like a monkey. So under the hood, the regular cab Tacomas only came with the 4-cylinder. So that's a stock 2.7 2TRFE 4-cylinder 5-speed manual transmission, hooked to the FJ Cruiser transfer case, giving me the ability to manually shift the transfer case and do away with Toyota's electronics. The engine's virtually stock outside of this HPS intake tube and a K&N air filter, and there's a Thrush turbo style muffler under it, but it's basically stock drivetrain. The air conditioning works, the heater works, and that's what really matters. So you can see it's got a Toyota Tundra dual diaphragm booster from like a 2nd generation Tundra with a Trail Toys adapter, and then a Dodge Ram dually master cylinder to compensate for the giant disc brakes that it has all the way around. And then that's just a eBay proportioning valve. And then I had to utilize a Honda Civic clutch fluid reservoir, because the factory Toyota reservoir is integrated into the brake master cylinder. So I've got a separate remote reservoir to make the clutch work. So yeah, pretty basic up here. I do have like the remote kit on my winch. So I've got a wireless remote for the winch, but I mean, it's pretty much stock. So the hooking up to the Toyota power steering box, so the power steering pump, basically I used like an IFS, late 80s, early 90s IFS steering box. That power steering hose that came with the box screwed right in to the bottom of the pump where the stock banjo looking thing was. The threads are inside your pump, so you can just utilize one of those IFS steering hoses. It tied right in nice and easy, no big deal. And then again, I did drill and tap the IFS steering box to run the hydro assist. So basically that's it under here. The intake does tie into This is a TJM snorkel. The TJM snorkel was sitting in the corner of my garage, and it was actually meant again for the 5th gen 4Runner. My wife wouldn't let me install it in her 4Runner when we had it, and I made it work on this, and it works really well. It fits really good. So very minimal gap between the fender and the snorkel, so we like that. All right, so on the inside of the truck, it started out as a stock bucket seat center console truck, so I didn't change anything there. I really haven't done a ton of modifications. Cheap Pioneer stereo. So I have Bluetooth capability, mounted the microphone up here under the lip of the dashboard with the manual trans. It's kind of a must-have. I run the RAM mount stuff with the iPad holder. That's how we do most of our mapping when we're navigating, going places, doing things. The biggest thing in here, obviously, is this factory twist knob no longer does anything for the 4-wheel drive. So now we have the twin stick shifters here on the FJ case. So we've got a tortoise and a hare from Rydell Fab, high range, low range shift knob. And then we have another one, the F around and find out knob, which is 2 and 4-wheel drive. So very cool. Great stuff, threaded right on. The biggest thing in here, we got the flip switch for the front air locker. Hopefully we're going to add a rear one very soon. The switch for the KC lights. And then as I just did a video on the Midland radio. So I took a Midland MXT 275 GMRS radio and hid it in the center console. So all you have sticking out is just the mic. You can key up right there. I'm hoping to hang that where that 2 4-wheel drive selector is by picking up the delete plate from a 2-wheel drive truck. And then we'll get that mounted up here shortly. That radio ties into the little stub antenna that's on the outside of the hood, which I bolted directly to the back edge lip of the hood, and works really well. Much better reception than using your handheld Bowfangs or whatever. All right, so that's kind of the gist of the truck. If you got any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Like, subscribe, comment on all the videos. Really appreciate it. It does help me out, and look forward to seeing you on the trails.